Welcome back everyone. Today we will be discussing once again the Jordan 4 University Blue. Specifically, we'll be discussing whether you should sell or hold the Jordan 4 University Blue and why that is. To preface this, if you guys enjoy these types of videos regarding the market, reselling, and even info on how to acquire these limited products, be sure to subscribe and enable post notifications just so you're always 100% updated. Furthermore, for more urgent updates like shock drops, such as the numerous dunk shock drops that we actually just saw today, follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and also personals for you. This way, you're always in the loop 24/7 whenever there is a restock, drop, shock drop, etc. And of course, shout out to Endurance members who knew about the shock drops beforehand as usual. Good news though, we'll be doing a small restock for US and Europe, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 p.m. CEST on Sunday, May 2nd. For those who don't know, the Jordan 4 University Blue releases on April 28th in US. They already dropped in Europe on the 21st. Retail will be $200 for men, $150 for grade school, $85 for preschool, and $65 for toddler, but we'll only be focusing on the men's pairs today, and the grade school pairs you'll see will react proportionally, which we'll be discussing too. Be sure to watch my How to Cop video if you have not yet, and you happen to be watching this before the drop. Otherwise, let's continue. In order to determine if the Jordan 4 University Blue will be a fruitful hold, we will cover an estimated range of what the sneaker will settle at after the drop, also when shipments come in, essentially the pairs going into circulation, whether they're expected to increase post-drop or even hypothetically decrease, along with how much specifically over specific periods of time, and finally, what type of margin are we looking at for these in terms of holding, not the retail to resell initial margin, but rather the hold margin over X period of time. Essentially, are these actually going to be worth your time? Kicking it off, let's discuss the estimated range that these should be settling at. To begin with, stock for all sizes combined worldwide is under 90,000 pairs. This is just slightly more than what we saw in the Taupe Haze Jordan 4, so you already know these are not going to be an easy comp. With that said, the demand on these is extremely high as well. The University Blue colorway has proven to be one of the most demanded colorways, as we've already seen on the Jordan 1s. Not to mention, the Jordan 4 in general is a very well-received model as well. This is clearly reflected in the absolutely insane sale volume for these. You'll see as I just keep loading more and more, they're all still taking place on the 27th. Not to mention the massive amount of very high bids too. Therefore, as discussed in the How to Cop video, I will be going full throttle on these for both men and grade school pairs. I'm expecting them to be very profitable with a great margin. Now, regarding a specific range though, prices have been declining over the past week, which is completely normal since people are just unloading their early pairs, in-store pairs, especially with the exclusive access drop, which already occurred, in addition to the Europe drop, which also already occurred. Since we're just about a day out from the drop, I don't think they'll drop too much more. As a conservative estimate, we'll subtract an additional 3% for the average pre-drop prices. This should leave men's pairs on average at about $370 pre-drop, being that the average for men's sizes right now, as of me making the video, is about $380. We normally see a notable change post-US drop too. This is when we normally experience what I like to refer to as the impulsivity effect. You guys should know what I'm referring to by now, as we discuss this very frequently, yet it almost always still occurs. Regarding the impulsivity effect, if you haven't watched my seller hold videos before, sneaker drops specifically impact human impulsiveness significantly after an individual fails to acquire that desired product due to insufficient supply and too much demand. Therefore, on average, we normally see about a 10% increase of the pre-drop prices post-drop. This isn't always the case, but majority of the time it is. One example where we didn't see much change was on the Raging Bull Jordan 5 drop, which I did call in my hold or sell video for those, that it would stay in that 315 range post-drop, and would later fall to the 275 range once shipments went out, which is exactly what we're seeing now. However, when it does come to these Jordan 4 University Blues, I sort of see these in between, since they're so high already, yes, just like the Raging Bulls were. However, these do have significantly more demand as well as lower stock. Therefore, I'd still expect at least a 5% increase in the pre-drop prices post-drop, which is just slightly more than what they're at as of me making this video. Not exactly a big jump, and that's because I do feel that these have already been priced in quite well. This would leave us with a post-drop average of just shy of about $390, which is honestly insane for a Jordan 4. I'm telling you, this University Blue colorway is no joke. This means I could see some of the better sizes hitting $400, potentially even more, while some will be below below 390, of course, thus where the average derives from. Keep this number in mind because we'll be revisiting this number when discussing the most optimal times to sell at. Keep in mind, these will just be the post-drop prices for a finite period of time. But now, let's discuss what prices will look like once shipments go out in that 1 to 2 week range. During this period, the vast majority of pairs will be going into circulation, aside from the amount of pairs that already went out through the exclusive access, in-store pairs, and those outside of the US as well. When it comes to these decent-sized releases, the effects are normally very noticeable, often up into the 15% range. I expect these to drop in value in a proportional manner, though, to the University Blue Jordan 1, since the situations with the early releases and exclusive access is very, very similar. Regarding those Jordan 1 University Blues, I predicted a 12% decrease, getting them to an average of about 415, 416 once all shipments were out, and look where we are now, essentially spot on. Therefore, I'm expecting that same 12% decrease when it comes to these as well. This could potentially bring prices down to an average of $340 after all shipments do go out. Some sizes, of course, will be higher than that, and some sizes will be lower than that, of course, because this is the average. Either way, that is still a great margin. I'm going full throttle on these, like I already said, as mentioned earlier. Grade school pairs should also react proportionally to what I'm discussing now. But now that the average price ranges at those points in time are evident, let's discuss whether they're expected to increase post-drop or even hypothetically decrease, along with how much specifically over specific periods of time. When it comes to Jordan 4s in general, a lot of the highly sought after colorways actually tend to increase in value by a pretty noticeable amount. The only issue when it comes to these specifically, though, is the exact same issue that we discussed on the Hyper Royal ones, the University Blue ones, and the Raging Bull 5s. Their long-term potential is already partially priced in. They're already so high, and we see a very similar situation with the Topaz Jordan 4. Short term, I see these plateauing for a few months. I'm not expecting a notable increase over the next few months at all. Long term, however, I am confident that these will definitely increase due to the extremely high demand and relatively low stock. However, whether it's actually worth your time is what we'll be discussing next. Again, this is a very similar situation to the prior 3 videos, ironically. Regardless, I do believe they will increase long term, and likely by a notable amount too, just not for at least a few months. You guys know how I feel about the UNC or University Blue colorways long term on very sought after models, such as the Jordan 1 or the Jordan 4. This colorway is definitely a different breed, to say the least. Finally, regarding the hold margin on these, essentially, are these actually worth your time? When it comes to the Raging Bulls, for example, I ended up rating them a 4 out of 10 below average hold because although I felt that they would increase, yes, I did not feel that the amount that they would increase by would be justified by the amount of time that you would need to hold these to be an above average hold. These are similar in the sense that they're so high already. However, because it is a University Blue colorway on a Jordan 4, and it's sort of like the poor man's Travis Scott Jordan 4 too, I'd have to at least give these a 5.5 out of 10, so just barely above average. When it comes to these University Blue colorways, you won't see the fruits of your hold immediately, but rather long term. Over around 1.5 years, you'll start to see these prices increasing in value. And when it comes to this University Blue colorway too, just like the Jordan 1s, overall, again, I did rate this a 5.5 out of 10 hold, just barely above the average hold. Had they not been going for this much initially, these definitely would have been one of my top holds. Unfortunately though, the price that they're already going for will hinder the ROI significantly, which is what matters at the end of the day when deciding what to hold. If they were to hypothetically hit 500 or more, for example, in the future, that's still only around a 30% ROI compared to the price you could have gotten if you had sold during the impulsivity effect. Overall, I will be quick selling the majority of my pairs, but I still am considering keeping 1 or 2 on ice. And I do like to diversify, and they do frankly look really awesome, so I might keep 1 or 2 for the shelf, and of course, I'm going to keep that personal too. Let me know what you guys think about these. Also, just a note in general, for anyone considering holding any items who have low capital, you should never hold anything in general if you don't have sufficient capital to go for as many drops as possible at your full potential without holding back. If you need money to go for all drops, try to sell these during that impulsivity effect like I was discussing before. Anyway, let me know what you guys are doing with with your pairs in the comments below, since at the end of the day, this is a discussion. We're just sharing our notions. Anyway, good luck on this drop, or congrats if you already did cop these. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, or you perhaps learned a thing or two. Subscribe and enable post notifications just to stay 100% updated on all hyped sneaker releases. Remember, if you guys need proxies or Nike sneakers accounts, be sure to check the links in the description below for TARS and Kip proxies. And of course, follow my Twitter, KeithThatUm10, and personals for you, so you always stay 100% updated on everything. And just a reminder, the small endurance restock will take place at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 p.m. CEST on Sunday, May 2nd. With that though, I will see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your day, and of course, good luck on the drop.